Ashes of Creation, didn't they kill this game? No, they haven't exactly killed this game. What has happened is, what has happened is that's not even the right title for that show. What has occurred is that Ashes of Creation is owned by primarily an individual whose name is Robert Dawson, and he is just trying to get his intellectual property back. The problem is Stephen Sharif, and I said this for years, Stephen Sharif wholly and comically mismanaged his company. And I said that for years and years and years. I said, you're expanding too quickly, you're bringing on a bunch of people, and your burn rate is absurd because you don't have the frameworks in place yet. Like, I as a project manager, one of the things that hurts my soul is when I watch people think that more money or more manpower fixes every single problem. We see Steven and we see the financial record just now, and we see the text messages, and what's killing Steven is that he can't control the narrative anymore. Unfortunately, Steven was faced with two people, and the two people are Jason Karamanis and Robert Dawson, and they are about as different as you can be with how they're handling it. Jason Karamanis is a very scorched earth, public fuck you kind of guy, which I respect. He got pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and 13 million of his money pissed away. And he went kind of on like the talk show circuit with Nefus and said, hey, this guy's full of shit. Let me drop a bunch of texts. Let me drop a bunch of documents. Robert Dawson, on the other hand, he is not the kind of guy that you want to play poker with because he doesn't have any tells. Every time a Dawson document comes out, we have no idea what direction his law firm's going to take. They're very methodical. They're very non-emotional. Today, I see a little bit of emotion in their filing. I'll bring that filing up. But this is a response to the stuff we talked about earlier in the week, or last week, with, or Saturday, I think it was Friday. I tried to do the show. My internet went out. Saturday, I finished. Stephen made a gigantic claim that is easily provable to be false. And that, I think, is where the big mistake came. Because in a court case, you just need to chop out one leg of the table. And once you chop out one leg of the table, you can just lean on that one leg. And by leaning on it consistently, there's nothing they can do. The end result is still that Ashes is dead. There is a potential that it comes back. So, here's where the big piece comes in. Robert Dawson, Jason Karamanis, they are not, how shall we say, they are not video game people. They are business people. They are venture capitalists. They make their money by financing other people's passions and then taking a cut of the profits. Now, a lot of people don't like venture capitalists. The reason why a lot of people don't like venture capitalists is you end up seeing venture capitalists take 30, 40, 45, 48, sometimes 50% or more of a company. And people say, well, that's not fair because they end up profiting off the other people's hard work. Well, yeah, because the problem is the other people didn't know all the skill sets. They didn't have all the skill sets. The one that they missed was financing. I think that what we saw initially out of Robert Dawson's board of directors with that PowerPoint document that was really condemning to Intrepid, I think if you didn't see this before, I believe this was released specifically to harm the image of the board of directors. I didn't show it until another creator had showed it, because I was given this and I did the right thing. I turned this over to the class action lawsuit lawyers. And because I turned it over to the class action lawsuit lawyers, I didn't speak about it until another content creator had shown it. The big thing here is, at first, my initial knee-jerk reaction is, what the fuck are these guys doing? They're money whoring Ashes for whatever it's worth. The thing is that after having a couple of conversations with Jason, they're not video game people. They are venture capitalists. A venture capitalist is going to say, how much can I get out of this? I think that they are very, very interested in getting their money back. I am not going to speak for them if they want to release a public statement. They're not interested in making a visionary MMORPG that revolutionizes the genre. They're not video game people. At this point, they want to make their money back. How do they make $90 million back? Well, at least 90 million, because it's not. Steven never put any money into the company. I've not. The most I found that I can attest to is $200. They put $200 in. Their capitalization tables are fraudulent. They issued shares of stock they're not authorized to issue. Steven, at least, if there's a redeeming factor for Steven Sharif, it's that before whatever caused his downfall, Jason Karamanis alleges that it was gambling. Whatever the issue was, I think Steven at some point wholeheartedly wanted to make an MMO. But Steven wanting to make an MMO is a lot like when my daughter Gizmo was 4 and she wanted to make brownies. Yeah, you want to make brownies, so what you're really saying is you want mom or dad to make brownies. You're not saying you want to make brownies, you're saying you want a brownie. My wife is smarter than I am. When Gizmo would come to me and she was little and she'd say, I want to make brownies, I'd stop what I was doing and I'd make brownies. My wife, being smarter than me, would send her to go play and then would take out a cosmic brownie out of the pantry, heat it up, put it on a plate, and give it to her, and she was happy. She's the smart one. It's so crazy to me that this whole thing was founded on the fact that it was self-funded with no venture capitalists. So this is where Steven hasn't ever directly said this, but I believe his thought process was this. I own all of this, and if I sell this slice, then this is me funding it by selling that, because I'm selling off a piece of what's mine. That, the SEC is going to say, is fraudulent as fuck. The Securities Exchange Commission is going to walk in and say that is investor fraud. You defrauded all your crowdfunders because you literally told them you were self-funding it. But this is like, this is the joke where you've got the dad who's got a son and he wants to get his son a good wife. And what he does is he tells the joke. Wait, hold on. I need to find the joke. There's oh, what is it? Shit. Give me 1 second and I'll find the joke. Glad I was able to catch a stream. It's been ages since I've been able to tune in. Oh yeah, here it is. The Bill Gates daughter World Bank joke. So this is a great joke because it shows you how a good bluffer, a good charismatic entrepreneur can get you what you want. So here's a dad and he's got a son and he's trying to set his son up for life. So the dad tells his son, I found you a wife. And the son says, I'll find you a spouse. The son says, I'll find my own. He says, it's Bill Gates' daughter. So the dad calls Bill Gates and says, I want your daughter to marry my son. And Bill Gates says, well, no. And the dad says, well, my son is the president of the World Bank. And Bill Gates says, well, in that case, yes. So then the father goes to the World Bank and says, I want you to appoint my son as president. And the World Bank says no. And he says, but my son is Bill Gates' son-in-law. And the World Bank says, well, of course, then yes. This is that situation where if you tell the right lie at the right time, then your lie becomes a truth, and all your lies become truths. Steven, I think he legitimately wanted to make a video game, and I think he's now desperate. I think he is so desperate because Rob Dawson is doing to Steven the one thing he doesn't know how to counter. And that one thing is, he's not saying, he's not saying like, this is how I'm going to respond. This is what we're thinking. All these things. Rob Dawson's team is literally just pushing out their responses, and they're not leaving Steven a whole lot of real estate to stand in and talk against. If you create a story that is only based on the counterfactuals, you don't really give the other side a chance to use their natural talent. Now, instead of CEO, where would I put Steven in your company to maximize his talent? Well, first of all, so that we're absolutely clear, I would never have a man like Steven Sharif work for me. Even though he's incredibly charismatic, he would be a great marketing director. I would never have Steven Sharif work for me because I have a rule that I carried over from the Air Force. Integrity first. If you don't have integrity, I don't want you working for me because all of your actions reflect on me. Now, if I was the power player and I had the ability to move people, Steven would have been the marketing director and he would have been a creative liaison. Give me your vision, we'll go make it. You're not going to be involved in the how, you're going to be involved in the what. You're not going to be involved in the why, you're going to be involved in the what. What are we building? If you think about it, Ashes of Creation had a really good foundation. The node system. Great idea for a game. But because Steven can't do fucking math, and from what people inside the studio have told me, Steven never gave them the time to polish systems. What was happening is they were constantly in a state of build the vertical slice or the presentation. And then after you build the vertical slice, instead of having time to actually fix things, Steven had them moving on to the very next thing. Well, the problem is moving on to the very next thing leaves everything in tech debt. Like one of the things I brought up as soon as I challenged Steven on it, as soon as he, where the fuck is PDFs? As soon as Steven brought this up, I challenged him on it. Hi, buddy. Hi, Pokey. You're poking me. And I said, okay, you just did a live stream today. Can you walk me through something? and I never got an answer because there was no answer. All I did was take all the things he said from a live stream and I put them together the way he was explaining it. He said a node would take 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 50 seconds. I forgot which one it is to cross on foot. And it would be 5 minutes to go from center of node to center of node. So then it would be 3 minutes and 30 seconds edge to edge. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to do edge to edge inside each node. 3:30 to go from edge to edge of 2 nodes. But that would be 6 minutes 20 seconds, not 5 minutes. You're literally talking about 20% of the world different. So how do you not know how long it's going to take if you're building the game? Like, you came to us with a live stream. So then if the neighboring node is stage 5, its center to edge would be smaller, but then the edge would have to be bigger as the circle got smaller. So all the things he said didn't even line up. And it's because Steven had this really bad habit of, let me say what I think the people want to hear today, and fuck if my engineers and fuck if my game designers and fuck if my producers have the time they need to make it, I'm going to talk about it. He would have sucked at that job. I don't think he would push anything that wasn't his take opinion. I mean, I agree with you. I think Steven is very much like Kevin Zambada of Palladium Books, and why Rifts never became an MMO, why the Rifts MMO, not Rift from Tryon Worlds, but there's a tabletop game called Rifts. Many people attempted to approach them and turn it into a video game. In fact, it was a video game on the N-Cage, I think was the fucking system. It was terrible, but the problem is, what's been said about the president of Palladium Books is he's a very difficult creative to work with. Steven seems like a very difficult guy to work with. He doesn't like being wrong. The problem with not wanting to be wrong is that you have to surround yourself by a bunch of people that support you. And if you never want to be wrong, you can't talk off the cue cards. So we have a situation where Steven has filed a brief earlier this week, or last week, end of last week. Steven filed some stuff. And now Intrepid Studios' lawyer has responded. Now remember, Steven is suing Rob Dawson and Intrepid Studios, but Steven is suing as Steven Sharif on behalf of Intrepid Studios, which is comical because he owns less than right now he's assigned less than 5% to the company. So the response we got is to Steven Sharif as an individual and derivatively on behalf of Intrepid Studios versus Robert Dawson, Ryan Ogden, Teresa Fett, Aaron Bartels, TFE Games Holdings, and Jason Karamanis, and Intrepid Studios as a nominal defendant, with Intrepid Studios, a California corporation, as a cross-complainant versus Steven Sharif, an individual cross-defendant. So this is like, to use some like interesting visuals, this is like you're having a menage a trois and somebody wants to come in and change all the positions, but you're still in the middle of it. So Sharif filed this case derivatively in Intrepid's name to preserve Intrepid's assets from creditors he accused of wrongfully trying to strip them away. Intrepid is now before the court in its own name seeking the very same relief, and Sharif has changed his tune. The IP assets he once argued needed protection for Intrepid's benefit now suddenly belong to him and more to dole out exclusively. According to this new story, Intrepid can only access them with his permission, under his control and his terms. As outlined below, Sharif's own admissions and filings defeat these arguments, and his requested relief should be denied. This is a fucking baller opening paragraph, because what it's saying is, without saying it, liar, liar, pants on fire, you lied to the court. Sharif's admissions judicially stop him from arguing he has an exclusive license to company assets. Sharif consents to the IP custodian receiving and preserving every asset identified in the motion other than the founder-owned assets. The court should enter turnover as to those assets as unopposed. Great. Because Steven said all these other things should be unopposed, we agree. The court should enter the turnover to those assets as unopposed. Great, we're done. He said it, we agree. Do it. Regarding the purported founder-owned assets referred to in Sharif's opposition, these are the exact same assets that he previously represented to the courts were Intrepids. Sharif cannot now take the opposition position that the same category of assets are not trade secrets or company assets, but personal property he exclusively controls. Judicial estoppel exists to prevent exactly this. New Hampshire versus Maine. The doctrine applies where a party's later position is clearly inconsistent with an earlier one. The party succeeded in persuading the court to accept the earlier position, and the party would derive an unfair advantage if not stopped. All three are satisfied here. The court granted a TRO, appointed an IP custodian in reliance on Sharif's representation that those assets were Intrepids. He now claims that them as his own while conditioning the company's assets on his permission. If the disputed assets were truly Sharif's, why did he seek the TRO in his individual capacity? Instead, he obtained relief by representing they belong to Intrepid and cannot now invoke personal ownership to resist turnover. So what Steven did, because Steven can't prove definitively that he is a majority stakeholder in Intrepid, Steven can't prove objectively that he owns any of Intrepid Studios. Steven can claim all he wants. I'm the founder. I created it. Well, first of all, you mismanaged it. You issued a class share of stock that I'm not sure you were allowed to issue. For those of you that aren't familiar with how American business works, PGN, my company, is a C Corp. I can issue multiple classes of stock, common, B shares, C shares, whatever I want to issue. The thing is that after I make one share not held by the company, everything after that point needs to be T's crossed, I's dotted. Right now, there's no point in us having B class shares of stock. There's no need. Intrepid, on the other hand, was either an S Corp or a C Corp, but when they founded their company, they said, we're only authorized to issue one class of stock. Well, I never found a modification, which I should be able to see, because your articles of incorporation are private, except for the top cover, where it lets the public know what the standing and the status of your company is. So Steven alleged he put $2 million in, then $30 million, then $12 million, right? Then $55 million, whatever his numbers were. But the problem is the books don't show that. The books show a lot of money movement, but they don't show an organic. This is where Steven put money into the company. He was told in an email before he kind of threw his hissy fit that if he can't definitively prove where he put money in, they were going to give him nothing. Like they were at the point with dealing with Steven that we're not going to give you anything because you're taking us for a ride here. This is how bad their books work out to be if you follow them. That first column, additional paid in capital. Every time somebody paid in capital to Intrepid, it should be logged as paid in capital, not as notes payable. But they logged $124 million in his notes payable. John Moore is not a CPA in any state that we've looked for him. And I will be the first to admit, I like this story, but I don't like this story enough to look for John Moore in 50 different states. It would make sense that he would be a CPA in California, a CPA in Virginia, a CPA in Nevada. I'm not going to go looking. What the fuck did they sell to make it a note payable? Well, what they did is they took a loan from shareholders. But then when what they didn't do, right, is they didn't log it properly. Because when you take a loan that eventually will become debt to equity, you can discharge the note payable because now it becomes paid in capital. Well, I could get down with how they did these books, except we know for a fact at certain points, Jason and Rob converted their debt to equity. If you want to log it as a note payable, you can. I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't have done it this way. But as soon as that debt gets turned into equity, you discharge it up from a note payable and you turn it into additional paid in capital. Because then the following year, when you have to file your annual financial report, you have to declare how much additional paid in capital. You're supposed to be telling the state of California every year whose the ownership are. And if you're not doing that, you're breaking the law. Where is the... There's a, oh, I forgot what it's fucking called. Sorry, I'm not at 100% today. I had to take a bunch of meds to sleep. A couple of years ago, all businesses, the Federal Electronic Funds Crime Prevention Division of the FBI, like, I had to fill out all this stuff like, are you a foreign national? Let me call you. Okay, I'm a birthright citizen. I was born here, but I also have citizenship in another country. What do I count as? They're like, you count as American. Cool, let's move on. Steven had, as CEO, John Moore is CFO. They had to go through the same thing. It was about 2019, 2021, somewhere in there. It's not like they didn't know, because they had to fill out a bunch of paperwork with the federal government. Every business had to do it. Funniest part of all this filing is the filing without the extra pages Intrepid's lawyers asked for to deal with all this nonsense and Steven's response. Yeah, I think the funniest part is that Steven's lawyers, Intrepid's lawyers asked for more pages and they didn't end up, didn't end up needing it because they were able to shred his argument. You're not a CPA and you grew up a house with one, and even I know it's wrong. That's not completely wrong, that's jail wrong. But that's the IRS knocking on your door, asking for your ledger on a regular basis. You're right. And that's the problem. John Moore and Steven Sharif didn't even file federal income payroll taxes for 2 of the years. That's a big fucking deal. You know what part of that problem is? The class action lawsuit attorneys need to get their asses in gear, because if you didn't properly file your payroll taxes, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm saying this could become the case, that means you've got 2 years of people's Social Security earnings not properly reflected because you didn't file all the paperwork. So remember, your Social Security is taken out of your paycheck at issuance. But as the business owner, I have to report to the federal government payroll taxes. If that's not done, I'm not smart enough to know if Social Security is giving you credit for those 2 good years of earning. Remember, they could have the money applied against your account, but they might not have the other half. So then, some of these employees are going to reach retirement age and they're going to find out they don't have the years that they need. Let's see. It's still weird hearing Intrepid versus Steven. They were almost synonymous for years. Yeah, it turned out that it was a parasitic relationship. Intrepid has attached Exhibit 1, a demonstrative timeline evidencing Sharif's contradictory positions regarding the purported founders-owned assets, and shows the substantial overlap between the assets Sharif identified as Intrepid's trade secrets to obtain the TRO and the assets he now claims are as founder-owned assets and licensed IP. It's gotten worse for him because he may have perjured himself. Exhibit 1. One of the things that they said in that other document was mark information, Ashes of Creation, standard character, yes. USPTO generated image, yes. Literal element, Ashes of Creation. Owner of mark, Intrepid Studios. Not John Moore, not Stephen Sharif, Intrepid Studios. Legal entity information, type, corporation. How the fuck much clearer does it have to be for Stephen and John? A corporation, be it an S corp or a C corp, is a legal entity. Appreciate that. 69 months. 69. The problem here is I don't think Stephen and John, to quote George Carlin, I don't think Stephen and John knew which end of the play pace smelled the worst. They were children stepping into a world of rules. They were children stepping into a game, a great game that they didn't understand. I saw a great quote the other day, and the quote was, standards versus rules. Rules are for people who can't follow directions. Standards are for people who aspire to do special things. If Stephen didn't know what he was doing, I offered years and years and years ago to do CPI work for him. And when I saw that Intrepid didn't have their 12 Ps in place, I offered to go out there for per diem. Give me a room, give me food. I'll come out and I'll help set up your pipelines, your policies, your procedures. Who can approve what? It's clear to me now, Stephen didn't want a guy like me coming out there and taking a look at the 12 Ps. Because if I come out and take a look at the 12 Ps, I'm gonna find you bullshit. There's 12 total. If you're doing full top to bottom, you're talking about prior planning prevents piss poor performance. You're talking about that one. The problem is that you've got your 12 Ps. I don't have the book out in front of me, but you need to pay attention to how you're setting up your company. You've got your purpose, your principles, your priorities, your policy, your people, your permissions, your pipelines, your processes, your procedures, and your performance, your progress, and your proof. Because you've got the strategic layer, the governance layer, the execution layer, and the measurement layer. And I did a video on this where I said the problem with Intrepid Studios was this is what you don't want. This is what you don't want. And the reason why I said you don't want this is because when you have that, what you really have is this. What you want in the video that I did where I talked about it, you want something like this. You want your measurement level to be external. Well, he had that. Stephen absolutely had that measurement level as external. Here's what he had. And you'll notice all the people on that screen gave them a lot of feedback that they didn't like. If you remember, Stephen said outright, I am the reason developers don't talk to communities. Because I was being overly critical. No, I'm not the reason developers don't talk to communities. I'm the reason that I'm the reason that developers don't lie to communities. Is there any chance Stephen gets sued for selling a cosmetic or selling cosmetics that were never made or provided? No. Here's the problem. To the very best of my knowledge, as much as it's going to piss people off, and I know you're not going to like this, and I'm not asking you to like it, because remember, this isn't Jalan Games, this isn't Steampunk Industries putting out a game. I'm not asking you to, I'm not asking you to do shit. Incompetence isn't criminal. And I know it doesn't make people happy, but incompetence isn't a criminal offense. Because they launched on Steam, and I know you're going to hate this, that launch on Steam that launch on Steam is a benchmarked deliverable. And I know you're not going to like that. But they are going to be able to say, right now, you can't sue Steven individually. I don't think. I haven't seen a place where the common man could sue Steven. While you're sitting in the office of the CEO, and this is what gets really shitty, Steven has to be convicted of fraud, criminal embezzlement, before a class action lawsuit against Steven civilly could happen. Because the corporate veil, and their corporate veil looks like a fucking brick of Swiss cheese, right? But until you have a definitive conviction that says he criminally violated his fiscal responsibilities, you can't launch an individual, sue him. Rob Dawson can, Jason Karamanis can, Teresa can, Aaron Bartels can, Thomas Atkinson can, Tim Sharif can. I think there's a chance. I think that if Steven is found liable and or convicted of taking money with the intent of defrauding people, there's a possibility he might be able to be sued. The problem with that is the chance that he's going to have that happen is pretty damn low. Less likely than a percent of a percent. Right. The problem, the problem became, even if Steven does get criminally convicted, what money does he have? If you're so fucking desperate that you're stealing from the pot of money that is meant to make the game that cements your legacy, I doubt they have. His house isn't his house, though. As far as I can tell, the money for that house hasn't cleared escrow. As far as I can tell, the money for that house is sitting in Commerce West Bank's escrow account. Because there were liens on it. From this, lots of people had liens on Steven. Steven owes, I think if I recall correctly, $660 some odd thousand in personal liens to the state of California. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Steven owes $661,000 dollars to the state of California from the Franchise Tax Board. This is him. This is his tax period from December 31st, 2008 to December 31st, 2013. This is what they say that he owes. I challenged Steven once on his back taxes owed to the state, and he said, in California, that's just how we do business. Well, let me say this. I've run businesses my whole life, and I've never owed $661,000 to the state because I pay my taxes when they're due. Now, you said you had a hard time being refunded on Ashes of Creation. After only 5 hours of playtime, finally your third attempt, they gave you Steam credit. So Valve lost a lot of money on Ashes of Creation, millions of dollars, because Valve, if the numbers Steven produced were allegedly correct, then Intrepid Studios made $8.8 million on the sales in December and January. I think just December, $8.8 million. Well, they didn't eat any money. Steam didn't eat any money. Steam lost money. And here's why Steam lost money. Because this is how much in sales was made. And because this is sub the first 10 million, Steam's cut is 30% of this, which means Steam's walk away from that would have been $2.6 million. The problem is they never transferred that 8.8, or they never transferred the remainder of the 8.8 million to Intrepid. So the 6.16 million that was due to go to Intrepid never went. Steven cocked that up by talking to Commerce Swiss Bank. Commerce Swiss Bank contacted Valve and said, we have a lien, that money's ours. Robert Dawson made a mistake. He didn't notify Commerce Swiss Bank. They had planned on paying Commerce Swiss Bank. So either way, Commerce Swiss Bank was going to get the money. But they cocked it all up. Well, the problem is as Steam starts giving refunds out of this number goes down. So this number goes down. Some people have said, well, why can't I get a refund from Steam? My personal belief is that they've already refunded out all the money that they had. Refunds like these are pretty good marketing for Steam. If they had handled them correctly, yes, but they didn't handle them correctly. So it makes it look like you fucked the consumer. The whole point, people say the whole point of Steam is so it's supposed to somehow protect the consumer. Doesn't protect the consumer. Quick question, since I'm leaving for Spain, Portugal, don't want to leave for there. If you're not back from Disney before that, as we know it, how will that go? I leave for Disney Friday morning at 4:00. I will roll back into town the following Friday at about 1 or 2 o'clock. And then I got to get up 4 hours later and go to the MPF. Yeah, you're fucked. Canned food and shotguns for the next week while I'm gone. It just seems to be how things are going. Moreover, the court's previous TRO order disposes of the opposition's particularity argument under the IntelliClaire and Sky Orthobiologicals. With respect to the founder-owned assets, both the prior TRO and the IP custodian order identify those assets. Indeed, the court has already found at Shreef's urging that the IP assets at issue warrant trade secret protection. Intrepid's motion incorporated the IP custodial order to its definition of the IP assets subject to turnover and identified the additional items sought. As such, Shreef should be precluded from now arguing that the IP assets do not warrant trade secret protection. The threshold defect in Shreef's founder-owned assets theory is that Shreef and Moore do not own the company's intellectual property. Intrepid was incorporated on May 20th, 2015, Exhibit 2. Well, they have a mistake, because Exhibit 2 is actually the USPTO. I saw that mistake. Exhibit 3 is when they were incorporated. Let's see. Exhibit 3. Intrepid was identified as the owner of the mark in its trademark application filed for computer software Exhibit 3 at 1-4. The application was signed by or on Shreef's behalf. They flipped Exhibits 2 and 3. Now, is it a huge deal that they flip-flopped Exhibits 2 and 3? In theory, no, but in practicality, yes. The other lawyer can simply respond, Exhibit 2 doesn't show what you're saying it shows. Exhibit 3 doesn't show what you're saying it shows. Would a smart lawyer at this junction try the judge's patience with that? No. Would a smart lawyer contact the other lawyers and say, hey, you guys have a typo? Do you want to file an amendment? Yes, because then that first lawyer says, I noticed a mistake. You can attach an addendum, but you have to notice it. You have to file it. If Stevens, we're going to be able to tell what Stevens' true goal is, because Stevens' team shouldn't object to a correction addendum. But if they do, and they try to push the date out, because they have every legal right to say the exhibits don't show what they're showing, so we would like a continuance until their filing is easily readable. Is it total bullshit? Yes, the fuck it is. Is it totally legal bullshit? Yes, the fuck it is. Will the judge grant a continuance because of an exhibit typo? Probably not. The judge is going to be like, you're a lawyer. You're smart enough. You can figure it out. Eventually, Intrepid's application matured into registration with the USPTO, resulting in Intrepid being the owner of Ashes of Creation Mark Exhibit 2, not 3. Here, each of the founder assets contains Intrepid's Ashes of Creation trademark or derivative thereof. Sharif and Moore cannot license the mark to Intrepid, and then the related intellectual property that Intrepid has owned, been the owner of record since 2016. And crucially, no assignment of the registration from Intrepid to either founder has been executed or recorded. So, if you file something, right? Mark literal elements, Ashes of Creation. Owner, Intrepid Studios. Oh. Ashes of Creation. Owner, Intrepid Studios. There is no more discussion. Because Intrepid Studios is a legal entity in the eyes of the law, Intrepid Studios as a legal entity has certain rights. It's a corporation, but it has certain rights under the law. Steven is pretending like his wallet and Intrepid Studios' wallet is the same wallet. That is going to be eventually, like Steven's whole argument of, we own this trademark, we licensed it, that's going to be used against him because it's going to be quoted as alternate identity. You couldn't articulate to the court in your own filing, in your own sworn statements, where you ended and Intrepid Studios begins. Like, I can do that clear as day with PGN. I can tell you everything PGN owns, everything I own. There's no overlap. There's no consideration. Hey, Splash. He's trying to play a feudal government where he is, in fact, the administration. Right. CK3 reference. But yeah, here is the first one. Here is the second one. Ashes of Creation has been owned by Intrepid Studios since 2016. And there's a handful of other trademark licenses that are owned by Intrepid, like Intrepid Bucks. Put simply, Intrepid holds the exclusive right to use Ashes of Creation. As a result, the purported license agreement therefore could not transfer ownership of items using Ashes of Creation name or condition Intrepid's use of it. The license agreement fails to mention the company's corporate domain, which Moore admits he holds in his personal account. The founder-owned asset defense rests on the purported March 19, 2024 Founders Intellectual Property License Agreement. Notably, through Exhibits A, B, and C to that agreement, identify only Ashes of Creation, MMORPG, Phoenix logo, and name www.ashesofcreation.com. However, the license agreement does not identify IntrepidStudios.com, the company's own corporate domain, as founder IP. Yet Moore admits that his personal GoDaddy account controls that domain too, including the DNS that routes the company's website and email. Accordingly, there is zero basis whatsoever for Moore's personal control of IntrepidStudios.com. IntrepidStudios.com is also licensed registered trademark of Intrepid Studios Incorporated. John is not a CPA. John is not a qualified C-level corporate officer based on the statement he signed. John Moore has never been listed as a shareholder anywhere. And that agreement, that license service agreement that they filed, they claim that it was signed by all the shareholders. Jason's signature isn't on it. We know for a fact by 2024, Jason owned 9.7% of Intrepid Studios. We have the paperwork. Jason has filed that paperwork in a previous lawsuit. So that's going to completely invalidate that license agreement. And I would even argue that they should now use the rules of evidence to state that Stephen is no longer, how shall we say, eligible to provide uncorroborated evidence. Federal Rule of Evidence number 608 on witness truthfulness. The fact finder, until this goes to a jury trial, the judge can now make a declaration. I am no longer going to accept sworn statements from Mr. Sharif or Mr. Moore unless there's corroborating evidence, because they have wasted the court's time. They have provided a false, potentially felonious statement. Rule of Evidence 608 says I no longer have to, I can declare your truthfulness in question. Couldn't you just say that they're considered to have impeached in testimony? No, because they gave a sworn statement that's been proven to be perjurious. Because you can commit perjury on your sworn statements as well. That's the route I think Intrepid and Dawson's lawyers are going to go. I think they're going to move to have Moore and Sharif their truthfulness questioned, and then the judge is simply going to say, there will be no weighing of uncorroborated statements. And if that happens, Stephen's case is over before it even begins. The big problem is Stephen's lawyer now looks like a fucking jackass. And one of the things we don't talk often enough about is Stephen's now on his next set of lawyers. The first lawyers were threatened to be sued if they were being paid with Intrepid Studios money. The problem here is sometimes clients are really, really bad. My mentor, I heard him say this to clients several times. He would say, I don't feel you're being truthful with me, and I can't properly represent you or my future clients if you damage my credibility with the court. Remember, you have one case in front of the judge. You're one and done. You have your one case. But if you tarnish that lawyer's reputation, that lawyer's going to be pissed, because we all have biases. Everybody has biases. The fact that we think that judges don't have bias is stupid. If the judge knows that you've had 6 clients that have pulled one over on you, the judge is going to be like, yeah, I don't believe the arguments that you present. You're not vetting your own client's statements. You can't prove perjury without impeachment of testimony. You first have to bring the testimony into question. Yeah, that's the problem. That's what they're doing right now. They're attempting to, without directly calling for impeachment or directly calling perjurious, they're simply saying, here's our evidence. The judge can go down that route if the judge wants to. Remember, the judge can make Stephen get up on the stand and swear to all these things. The judge can have a hearing where Stephen would be subject to cross. There's lots of things the judge can do. As established above, Intrepid owns the IP assets and the Ashes of Creation trademark. Sharif and Moore created and maintained the purported founder-owned assets while serving as officers of Intrepid and for the purpose of conducting Intrepid's business. The fact that either individual may have opened or registered an account in his own name does not convert an Intrepid business asset into a personal property or confer ownership of Intrepid's intellectual property. Moreover, the employee non-disclosure agreement between Intrepid and Rhodes, signed by Sharif, defines Intrepid's trade secrets and outlines the software databases, algorithms, and related company materials as Intrepid's material, or as Intrepid's trade secrets, the sole property of company. He's already sworn to it, so the opposing counsel already can subpoena him as a qualified witness for direct or cross. No, they can't. The other counsel can't subpoena him because that would be foolish. Because if you don't ever want to call, you don't ever want to try to subpoena the other party. Because if you do, they can just start pleading the fifth. You have to wait until they get called. They have direct examination by the judge or by their counsel, because then you cross. Remember, the rules for what you can ask your witness and the rules for what you can ask on cross are different. You don't want to give Stephen the opportunity to testify if you subpoenaed him. You want the cross-examination bag of tricks. Right, the judge can call him and make him swear to it. Then the judge will ask Intrepid's lawyers, or will ask his lawyers, what do you want to do? Do you want to cross? That's what they want. They don't want to give Stephen any out. Because if you give him an out, he'll use the out. He's fucked either way. He's completely fucked. California's driving distance, but no. Yeah, who wants to... Anyone want to fly out to Cali to watch the hearing on the 11th? I'm going to be at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party that day, so I don't give a shit. The opposition argues the motion would change the status quo as to the founder-owned assets. However, the status quo refers not simply to any situation before the filing of a lawsuit, but instead to the last uncontested status which preceded the pending controversy. Yeah, I mean, redirect. So, direct examination, cross-examination, redirect. Redirect is basically the same set of rules as cross. You can ask for a little liberty, you can ask for a little freedom. You still can't, the big one that you still can't call in is you can't ask them to speculate, which one of the things that I was mentored in, sometimes when you have a guy, like Stephen is no doubt going to be on the stand, there's going to be a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of things that you could object to. Stephen is no doubt going to say an awful lot of things that Dawson's attorneys or Intrepid and Studios attorneys could, you're welcome for the update, could object to. But the nice part about not objecting to them is then you can dive down that rabbit hole on cross. Like, Stephen's lawyers can't ask any single question that summarizes, do you feel that you adequately performed your fiduciary duties? They can't ask that question. Why? Because then we have $370,000 worth of DoorDash. And they can literally say, so, you DoorDashed twice in one day. You think that was a good use? You spent $30,000 on a 5-star resort for a bunch of the employees. What was the value in that? Because remember, if Dawson and Intrepid's lawyers set this up properly, they'll make it so that they look terrible to the people of the state of California because they haven't paid his taxes. Yeah, you open the door. You haven't paid taxes. You've literally defrauded the people of California of tax revenue. You caused 123 hardworking Californians to lose their jobs, some of whom had to go on unemployment. Steven doesn't have, like, it's all fun and games until Steven has to get on the stand and his lawyer can't ask anything. Do you think you were a good CEO? Yes. So good CEOs burn through 120 some odd $1 million and never deliver a product? Remember, Tim Sharif is very likely to testify against his own brother. It's going to be ugly for Steven. Sharif email. Sharif's email proposal concedes the principle but overreaches in execution. Sharif claims a right to privacy and attorney-client privilege protections over his Intrepid email address. Sharif does not cite any case law supporting such protections. Regardless, that argument fails. Prima facie, the email is an Intrepid Studios company email. An employee has no reasonable expectation of privacy in messages sent and received through a company email system maintained for business use, which is akin to consulting one's lawyer in their employer's conference room and a loud voice with the door open so that any reasonable person would expect that their discussion about their employer would be overheard. Holmes versus Petrovic Development Company. Separately, an employer has access to its own servers, so an employee sending a message over the company system is like placing a copy of the message in the company files, reviewable by anyone with lawful access. Further, Intrepid's employee handbook forecloses any objectively reasonable expectation of privacy or confidentiality in Sharif's Intrepid email. The handbook provides that email is not guaranteed to be private or confidential, and that the company reserves the right to examine, monitor, and regulate email messages. It declares the emails are company-owned and subject to inspection, which may occur at any time, with or without notice. The handbook states internal and external email messages are considered business records and may be subject to discovery in the event of litigation. On this record, Sharif's communications are neither confidential nor privileged. Accordingly, Intrepid should receive full access to Sharif's email account and all associated communications. Intrepid requests this court adopt Intrepid's proposed order, providing an ESI protocol which offers an alternative option that restricts access to communications claimed to be protected by attorney-client privilege and reserves any remaining privacy issues for later determination. Steven can't, support at paradoxgaming.net. Jalan at paradoxgaming.net. Those are my company email accounts. I do not sign up for websites like Big Booty Bitches with my fucking company email account. Hold on, one of my cats is crying. Oh, can't see, girlfriend. You're abusive. You cannot... You simply cannot sign up for something using your company email address and then say it's privileged. Why are you contacting, I'm just throwing Big Booty Bitches out there. You cannot sign up for shit and then, send an email and then say, oh, you can't read that, because it's supposed to be protected. It's like the thing I dreaded most as a flight commander in the military, was when the comm guys would come to me and say, we have a problem with one of your guys' usage of government resources. I'm like, fuck a duck. Luckily, my guys got in trouble for stupid shit. They were watching a movie on their government computer. They were bored as shit. They had nothing to do. It was lightning within like 1 nautical mile. But you still can't put a fucking a DVD into your work computer. You can't do that. And so they got in trouble for using their work computer to watch DVDs. So I said to them, just buy a fucking DVD player for your TV. It's like $30 at the BX. Hi. This guy's a jerk. I think all voids are jerks. Hi. Meow. He's mad. I won't let him see his girlfriend because nobody else is home. He's a jerk face. Intrepid satisfies Winter under either the standard or the heightened formulation. Sharif claims that Intrepid does not present any evidence. Sharif claims or owns certain assets. As stated above, Intrepid's evidence includes both Sharif and Moore's own admissions of possession and control. Moreover, Intrepid meets the requirements likely to succeed on the merits. First, Sharif and Moore retain possession of the purported founder-owned assets after leaving the company against Intrepid's consent. Each of those founder-owned assets contains Intrepid Studios' Ashes of Creation trademark. Sharif himself admits that the very assets he claims are Intrepid's. So, where they do make a little bit of a mistake here is if you read the trademark application, the trademark application is only for one class of goods. 009, it's for computer, video game software, downloadable electronic software for use on personal computers and consoles, interactive game programs, video game software. Now, they did file under some other classes. I'm gonna pull those real quick. The problem is, you have to be really, really, really careful. When you create a trademark, there is so much to there is so much to the trademark process. Like when I tried to trademark Paradox Gaming Network Incorporated, I couldn't because Paradox is close to Paradox Interactive. So I messaged Paradox Interactive. I said, would you guys care if I trademarked this? Their legal department was really cool with me. They're like, yeah, we kind of would because we send out messages from Paradox. And I was like, okay, cool, I get it. The other trademarks that they filed under: 21, machines and supplies. 23, cutlery, machine tools and their parts. 26, measuring and scientific applications or appliances. 36, musical instruments and supplies. 38, prints and publications. The problem is you didn't file under anything to do with social media. You only filed under video games. Does that automatically give you ownership of the Twitter because it has Ashes of Creation in it? That's going to have to be hammered out in court. It would have to be hammered out in court as well as if they came to me and they demanded the stream team. I would fight them. And I would say, yes, Ashes of Creation is your registered trademark, but I'm not producing a video game for it. I'm producing an entertainment channel. I've had the Ashes of Creation stream team name for 5 years. You've never challenged me for it. You've never asked me for it. You don't have the trademark for it. I'm not giving it to you. We can reach a mutually equitable financial arrangement, but I'm not giving it to you. On the flight line, we watched movies on the Office PC all the time when jets were in the air and we had no maintenance on the deck. I'll never forget the day the squadron commander came in. All the superiors watching them with us, and the commander was like, so what are you guys doing? My boss was like, just watching this movie. Man, we shot up so fast as soon as we turned and saw who it was. Oddly enough, he liked that particular movie and told us to chill and sit down, but to turn it off. Yeah, see, my guys, we had a TV in the lounge, and during the day, from 7:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, they could watch PG-13 movies, up to PG-13. After the end of the time we might have kids walking through, I let them watch rated R. But I fucking warned them, there is a difference between rated R and rated my boot up your ass. The I said, because it was right around the time Game of Thrones was popular and True Blood was popular, I said that shit can be watched at midnight to 6 a.m. I don't need to be coming in here and seeing Osuki Sackhouse tits on the TV before midnight. And everyone was cool with that. I haven't kept up with any of this. In my opinion, is there a world where Ashes of Creation will be a playable game? Is there a world where Ashes of Creation will be a playable game? Yes, there is, but number one, there's going to have to be a lot of compromise between the player base and Intrepid Studios. Number one, Aaron Bartels has got to go. And I would say this to him on a T-Con. I would say it to him on a VideoCon. I'd say it to his face. You got to go. You can't be involved in this. Because gamers, like many other online activities, gamers develop a very parasocial relationship with key people and the company as a whole. People had a parasocial relationship hatred of Schmedley, of the old Blizzard CEO, of Scapes at Tryon Worlds, because he was the community manager. Gamers become inherently defensive about their game. If you had if you have a situation where one of your employees had said something incredibly stupid, they can't be involved with the company. You can't let them be known. Yeah, they're very tribal. The phenomenon of white knights impresses the shit out of me. You have people that are so infatuated parasocially with Steven. There's no convincing them Steven could potentially be wrong. When I was at the end of Ashes 101, where I was getting disenfranchised because we were being lied to, I was asking pointed questions, and people that I knew I had more project management experience than anybody at Intrepid were telling me I was wrong. Margaret is gone. Margaret works for some community investor energy type company. The real problem with continuing development of Ashes of Creation, who in their right mind would want to work for Intrepid? They won't get people with any talent. So here's where I think Intrepid has their biggest problem. Intrepid needs to bring somebody in with impeccable integrity, and they need to give that person a set amount of money. Like, this is how much we're going to give you to get the game playable. And it can't be a small amount of money. It's going to have to be $40-ish million. And then, like I said, the compromise is going to have to become from the company to the player base and back. For example, they called me and said, here's $40 million. It's in escrow. It's for payroll. I would say, great. The node system has to get stripped down to bare bones. But the community is going to have to be told, look, guys, I know what Steven Sharif, I know what Steven Sharif promised you, but the $120 million that was supposed to go into the game didn't go into the game. I only have X amount of money. So what I want to do is I want to get the game playable. What I would do is I would take the node system, I would strip out the 4 node types and the 9 node architectures. I would strip that out. We're going to start with nodes that are democratic. And then in a future DLC, we're going to put in the other 3 types. Social organizations, parking lot. We're going to have gear at level 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I know it sucks. That's what we're going to have. We got to get everything buttoned up. We got to make it playable. Then we'll make it better. What you really have to do is you have to look at the situation and you have to create the environment of a Realm Reborn. You got to say, look, we got to take what's here, probably scrap all of it, and speed run through a speed run through a recreation. Let you guys play in the first draft and then make it better through iteration. Another thing that I think that would make people very upset about, but I could sell it, is I would open up the cash shop, not right away. I would do what I always said. Hey guys, here's your day one update. We're going dark for 6 months. We're going to pull a Chrono Odyssey. We're going to go dark for 6 months. We'll be back in 6 months with some sort of update. Inside of that 6 months, I would have the store redone. Number one, I would change freeholds back so everybody can have a freehold. I would restrict licenses. Fucking having your own plot of land, if they need to be told why everybody having their own plot of land is a moneymaker, go to fucking Once Human. I drive around in Once Human and I see people who have $3,000 or $4,000 worth of cosmetics. They've bought every fucking home pack, every fucking building pack. Their mannequins have 5 of the expensive kits that are up there. They've got the cars spinning. They've got like the $200 car, the $500 truck. It's fucking crazy. What somebody said was 30% of the game devs in the US were fired in the past years. Don't think it's hard to find game devs. Not sure about their skills and their value though. Well, the problem is when 30% are fired, the ones that aren't working in the industry are the ones you don't want to work for you. The likelihood of there being good people, aren't there. Do you like Final Fantasy XIV and destroy the whole game and rebuild it? Everyone that bought the game previously got their lifetime subscription. Yeah, I would honor the lifetime subscription. But what I would do is I would do 2 things. Number one, I would reopen everything that's ever been sold, I would reopen. And to combat the initial backlash, I would once again simply say to the player base, look, the previous CEO, the previous creative director, he made certain promises. And we would love to honor and respect all of those promises. But the problem comes in, we invested this much money into the product, and we don't have this much asset. It's not like 124 million dollars was invested into the game, and we have 104 million dollars worth of game, and we're short 20 million. 124 million dollars was invested into the game, 21 million in sales. So you're looking at 140 some odd million dollars, and they have about 10 million worth of game. You put everything back up for sale. When it's done, when it's ready, we're gonna hire an artist and an animator, and your guy's sole job, the first thing you're gonna do is clear this whole fucking backlog of all the shit we've already sold. We're not gonna add anything new to sell, but we need money. Even Blizzard seen the positive to Personal Homes having paid cosmetics. Yes, having Personal Homes is literally the license to print money. The other thing I would do, I would make it so there was a window of time where every single thing you own in the cash shop can be 1-for-1 swapped for something in the same tier in the cash shop. Because how does it hurt you? It's a no-brainer win. What you're doing is you're turning the narrative away from the pay-to-win greed that people are inevitably going to hit you with. And what you're saying is, guys, you have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is you can have no game, or choice number 2 is we the new board of Intrepid got horse fucked, and this is the only way we bring you the game. So you can have no game, or you can have the game through this route. And if you want no game, you can blame Steven Sharif. And if you want the game through this route, you can still blame Steven Sharif, because this is what we're having to do, because he pissed away hundreds of millions of dollars. $100 million. Class system goes away. 64 unique classes goes right the fuck away. You're going to build out 8 primary archetypes. You're going to make the 8 primary archetypes good. Well, where's the class system going? Future DLC. You're not going to charge for it, but you got to make money. Now, is Dawson and Karamanis and all them, are they going to want to put another 40 million into the game? Probably not. Are they thinking that they could get away with putting 12 into the game? They think that. Can they? Abso-fucking-lutely not. This game can't be buttoned up for $12 million. Turn it into Diablo 3. Not exactly, because that would turn off too many players. Expansion free Necromancer. Oh yeah, in that route, absolutely. The same thing with Crusader Kings 3 updates. Could just not worry about classes and do something similar to New World. No, you can't. You can't do something similar to New World. Because that would make it all action combat and your game would be fucked. I miss grappling around my rogue. Said this game was top stupid and had to die. The problem, a big problem with why this game